I want you to picture a waiting room, not a hospital, not the DMV, a bankruptcy attorney's waiting room. There are maybe 4 other people in there. No one's talking. No one is making eye contact. Everyone has a folder. Everyone has a look on their face like they rehearsed what they were going to say in the car on the way over. And now they can't remember any of it. That person in the waiting room is not someone who gave up. That person held on longer than most people could have. They paid the minimum when they could pay the minimum. They negotiated payments. They borrowed from people they did not want to borrow from. They sold things. They worked the second job and a third. They called every creditor. They tried the consolidation. They considered the settlement. And somewhere in it all, the math just stopped working. Not because they were irresponsible, because life is expensive. And sometimes everything goes wrong at the same time. That person in the waiting room has one question running through their head. Is this the end of everything I was building? Today, the answer is no. But the real answer is more than that. Because bankruptcy is not one thing. It is a legal system with multiple chapters, each one designed for a different situation, a different kind of debt, a different kind of person. Today, we go through them all. What each one actually does, who each one is actually for, what the process actually looks like from the inside, and what the other side actually looks like for people who navigate it with their eyes open. Welcome to the Real Credit Talk Show, audio edition. I'm your host, Tiana Mayers, also known as Lady T. Founder of Beyond Credit Limits Corporation. And this is where we break down how credit actually works. Not from opinion, not from guesswork, but from how the system is designed to read you. This is a Beyond Credit Limits production. If you want to understand how your situation connects to what we talk about here, you can visit www.beyondcreditlimits.com. And if you've been tapped into the brand, you already know what it is at thatmerchmood.com. This is a space where we stop repeating credit myths, stop chasing surface level advice, and start breaking down how the system actually works. Not the watered down version, not the social media version, not the version people throw around without context. You know what I'm talking about. The real version. The structured, version. The version that helps you understand what is actually happening when your name, your information, your accounts, your behavior, and your decisions all come together inside a credit profile. So wherever you're listening from, I want you to settle in. Because this conversation is not just about credit. It's about how your profile is being read before you ever get an answer. Now let's go. Today is not about your credit. Let me say that again. Today is not about your credit. Today is about a word that carries more shame than it should. Bankruptcy. People whisper it. People avoid saying it out loud. Some people have been sitting with it for months without telling a single person because they don't know what the other person will think. But here is what I know after 15 years of sitting across from people in this situation. The shame is louder than the solution. And the solution, the actual legal tool, the process, the chapters, the protections, is more powerful than most people ever get to find out. Because they stopped at the shame and never got to the understanding. Today, we get to the understanding. Let's go. Welcome to episode 20 of the Real Credit Talk Show. I'm Tiana Mayers, Lady T. Most people think bankruptcy is one thing. You file, it wipes your debt, you start over. That is the version people get from movies and cousins who heard something from somebody. The reality is more specific and more useful than that version. The bankruptcy code has multiple chapters. Each one is designed for a specific type of situation. And the chapter you file under determines what happens to your debt, your assets, your home, your car, and the timeline of everything that comes after. Choosing the wrong chapter or not knowing all your options is one of the most expensive mistakes someone can make in this process. Today, every chapter that matters for real people gets its own explanation. Not a textbook definition, the real version. What it actually does, who it is actually for, and what it actually costs. We'll be right back.
Most people think credit is just a score. It's not. Your credit can affect where you live, what you drive, your interest rates, approvals, deposits, business funding, and even the opportunities available to you. At Beyond Credit Limits, we help consumers understand how the system actually works. This isn't about gimmicks. This is about structure, strategy, education, and financial positioning. Whether you're trying to rebuild, organize your financial profile, understand collections, prepare for home ownership, or create a stronger financial foundation, Beyond Credit Limits was built to help you move with intention. The consultation is where everything starts. We will review your situation, identify what's happening inside your credit profile, and map out the next steps based on your goals. Stop guessing, stop moving blind, and stop letting misinformation cost you financially. Visit www.beyondcreditlimits.com and fill out your consultation today. Again, That's www.beyondcreditlimits.com. Beyond Credit Limits, because financial freedom starts with understanding the system.
And we're back. Let's get into it. Let's go back to that waiting room. The person sitting there. Let's say, it's a woman, mid-40s, 2 kids, used to have a business, used to have a handle on things. She tried the consolidation loan. She tried the debt management plan. She tried the settlement negotiation. And she still ended up in that waiting room. Because sometimes life is bigger than every tool you've ever tried before. The attorney comes out, sits down across from her, and the first thing he says is, the first thing I need you to know is that the moment we file, everything stops. She doesn't fully understand what that means yet, but she will. The moment a bankruptcy petition is filed with the court, not after the hearing, not after a judge reviews anything, the moment it hits the system, something called the automatic stay goes into effect. Every collection call stopped. Every collection letter stopped. The wage garnishment eating her paycheck stopped. The foreclosure on the house paused. The lawsuit that was about to become a judgment paused. All of it. Immediately. By law. Not because anyone is being kind, but because the court just took jurisdiction over her financial situation, and no creditor can act without permission. For the first 2 years, she exhaled. Now, the attorney tells her she has a choice to make, and that choice is the chapter. This is the part most people never understand, because most people think bankruptcy is bankruptcy. They don't know there are 4 different paths for 4 completely different situations. Chapter 7. This is what most people picture. The fresh start, the clean slate. Chapter 7 moves fast. 3 to 6 months from filing to discharge. Most unsecured debt, credit cards, medical bills, personal loans get eliminated. The legal obligation to pay, gone. But here is the part the movie version leaves out. Not everyone qualifies. There is a test. The means test. Your income has to fall below a certain threshold relative to your state's median, or after all your allowed expenses. You have to show there is nothing left to realistically repay your debts. If you earn too much, Chapter 7 is not available to you. And there is a liquidation component. A trustee reviews everything you own. Assets above what your state allows you to keep can be sold to pay creditors. This is why knowing your state's exemptions before you file is not a detail. It's the decision. For our woman in the waiting room, she qualifies for Chapter 7. Her income dropped significantly when the business closed. She passes the means test. 3 months later, discharged. Not because she got lucky, because she understood which chapter fit her situation. Now, chapter 13. Same building, different waiting room, different person. This one is a man. He has a house. He has equity in it. He has kids in a school district he does not want to leave. He is behind on the mortgage by 5 months. The foreclosure date is set. He earns too much for Chapter 7, and he does not want to give up the house. Chapter 13 is his chapter. Chapter 13 does not eliminate the debt immediately. It reorganizes it. He proposed a repayment plan, 3 to 5 years, based on what he can actually afford. And inside that plan, the 5 months of missed mortgage payments, the arrears, get paid back over the life of the plan, while the current mortgage payment continues on time. The automatic stay stopped the foreclosure. The Chapter 13 plan gives him the path to keep the house. He gets to stay in his home. Most people in pre-foreclosure never hear this option because nobody tells them it exists. The foreclosure date was set for a Tuesday. He filed Chapter 13 on the Friday before. The foreclosure stopped. His kids finished the school year. That is not an accident. That is Chapter 13 doing exactly what it was built to do. Now, Chapter 11. Most people associate Chapter 11 with corporations, airlines filing, retail chains filing, the kind of thing that makes the news. But Chapter 11 is also available to individuals, specifically individuals whose debt exceeds the limits allowed under Chapter 13. Chapter 13 has debt caps. If your secured debt or unsecured debt is above those thresholds, Chapter 13 is not available to you. Chapter 11 has no debt cap. It is more complex, more expensive. It requires ongoing court oversight. It takes longer. But for a business owner or a high debt individual who needs the reorganization path that Chapter 13 cannot provide, Chapter 11 is the tool that fits. The person who built a business took on significant debt to grow it, hit a wall they couldn't get over, and needs a structured path to reorganize without losing everything. That person needs to know Chapter 11 exists. And most of them never find out until it's too late. Now, Chapter 12. This one almost nobody knows about. Chapter 12 was created specifically for family farmers and family fishermen. And before you think this doesn't apply to you, stay with me for a second. Because if you know someone who farms, or someone in the fishing industry, or someone whose income comes in seasons rather than monthly paychecks, this chapter may be the most important thing they have never heard of. Chapter 13 works on the assumption that income is consistent month to month. A farmer's income is not consistent month to month. The harvest comes once a year, or twice, or when the season allows. Chapter 12 was designed to accommodate that reality. The repayment plan is more flexible. It can be structured around the actual income cycle, not a standard monthly payment that doesn't match how money actually arrives. It has higher debt limits than Chapter 13. It is faster and less expensive than Chapter 11. And it was built specifically to protect family-owned farming and fishing operations from being lost to debt when the season went wrong or the market turned. Most family farmers and fishermen who file bankruptcy file Chapter 13 because nobody told them Chapter 12 exists. And Chapter 13 may not fit their income structure. Chapter 12 does. Now, let's get back to the waiting room. Whatever chapter applies, there is a moment in the process that almost everyone dreads before it happens and is almost always surprised by when it does. The 341 meeting. The meeting of creditors. People picture a courtroom. They picture every person they ever owed money to sitting in a row staring at them, asking hostile questions. Some people don't even know what to expect, don't know what they're actually walking into, what it looks like. Here is what actually happens. You and your attorney appear before the bankruptcy trustee, not a judge, a trustee, usually in a conference room, sometimes over video. The trustee verifies your identity, asks standard questions like, did you list all your assets? Did you list all your debts? Have you transferred property recently? In most consumer cases, 5 to 15 minutes. In most consumer cases, no creditors appear. Our woman sat down. The trustee asked her 4 questions. She answered honestly. She was out in 11 minutes. She told me afterward, I spent 6 months dreading 11 minutes and then received the discharge. The legal event that eliminates the personal obligation to pay certain debts. But the discharge is not unlimited. There are debts it cannot touch, and people are regularly shocked to find out which ones. Student loans. Generally, not dischargeable. There is a narrow exception called undue hardship that requires separate litigation and rarely succeeds. Child support and alimony, not dischargeable. They continue after the bankruptcy is complete. Recent tax debts, generally not dischargeable. Older tax debt may be under specific conditions. Debts from fraud can be challenged and excluded. If student loans are the primary driver of your situation, bankruptcy may not solve the core problem. That conversation has to happen honestly before you file. And the reaffirmation agreement, this is the trap that catches people right when they think they're almost through. You are in bankruptcy. The attorney slides a reaffirmation agreement on the car loan across the table. You need the car to get to work. You sign it. What you just did, you voluntarily reinstated your personal liability on a debt that was about to be discharged. If you fall behind on that car loan after the bankruptcy, they repossess the car and can sue you for the deficiency. The bankruptcy protection on that debt, gone, because you signed it away when you were exhausted, when you just wanted it to be over, when nobody explained clearly enough what you were giving up. Before you sign any reaffirmation agreement, understand exactly what you are agreeing to. And now, the part nobody tells you. The rebuild starts the day after the discharge, not when the bankruptcy falls off the credit report. Not in 7 years, not in 10. The day after. Our woman opened a secured credit card 30 days after her Chapter 7 discharged. She used it for gas, paid it in full every month. 12 months later, her score had moved. Not to where it was before, but it had moved. 2 years after the discharge, she qualified for FHA. She bought a house. The same woman who sat in the waiting room wondering if it was all over. It wasn't. It was just the end of that chapter. And the next chapter started the moment she decided that the reset was a beginning, not an ending. If tonight connected to where you are or where someone you know is, don't sit on this. Visit www.beyondcreditlimits.com and fill out the consultation form. 1 hour. Your actual situation. A real picture of what your options are and what the path forward actually looks like. Submit your questions to the Real Credit Talk Show at beyondcreditlimits.com. Your first name and state or anonymous. I read everyone. Now let's get into today's questions. Lionel, North Carolina. Lady T, my sister filed bankruptcy 2 years ago. She's been doing everything right since. Her score is a 634 now. She's trying to get an apartment, but keeps being denied because of the bankruptcy on the background check. The credit score isn't the problem. The bankruptcy is. Is there anything she can do? Lionel, tell your sister that a 634, 2 years out from a bankruptcy discharge, is real progress. That is not a small thing. Now, the apartment situation, landlords screening for bankruptcy on a background check are within their legal rights in most states. The bankruptcy is public record for up to 10 years on a Chapter 7. But here is what your sister can do. She can get ahead of it. Instead of waiting to be denied, she approaches the landlord directly before the application, explains the situation briefly and without shame. The bankruptcy, when it discharged, what she has done since. The 634, the clean payment history for 2 years. And she offers what's called a risk reducer, an additional month of security deposit, a co-signer if she has one available, references from people who can speak to her reliability. Some landlords will work with someone who comes to them transparently and with receipts. The ones who won't are telling her something useful that is not her landlord. Farrah, Tennessee. I am a small business owner. I have both personal and business debt. My attorney mentioned both Chapter 7 and 11, but didn't really explain the difference in plain terms. I am more confused than when I walked in. Farrah, what your attorney just told you is accurate. What your attorney didn't give you was the translation. Here is the plain version. Chapter 7 is the faster, simpler path. It liquidates, meaning a trustee looks at what you have, sells what isn't protected, and distributes that to creditors. Most unsecured debt is discharged. You're typically done in 3 to 6 months. But there are debt limits and income limits, and it generally does not allow you to reorganize and keep a business. Chapter 11 is the reorganization path with no debt cap. You propose a plan to restructure what you owe over time. You can keep the business operating while the plan is in effect. It takes longer and costs more, but the court is involved throughout it all. If your goal is to keep the business running and restructure both the personal and business debt, Chapter 11 is likely the conversation. If the business is done and you need a clean exit, Chapter 7 may make more sense. The right chapter depends on what you're keeping and what you're letting go. Those are two different answers. Visit www.beyondcreditlimits.com so we can help you look at the credit picture alongside whatever legal guidance you get. Renata, Virginia. I am a third-generation farmer. My father filed Chapter 13 years ago, and it was a disaster. He couldn't keep up with the monthly payments because the income doesn't come monthly. It comes at harvest. Is there actually a better option for someone in agriculture? That's a great question. Renata, yes. And this is one of the most important answers in today's episode. What your father has experienced in Chapter 13 is exactly the problem Chapter 12 was built to solve. Chapter 12 is specifically for family farmers and family fishermen. And the most important thing about it is that the repayment plan can be structured around seasonal income, not a standard monthly payment that assumes money is coming in every 30 days. So instead of paying the same amount every month, regardless of whether the harvest has come in, a Chapter 12 plan can build in larger payments during harvest season and smaller or paused payments during the off-season. It also has higher debt limits than Chapter 13 and is significantly less expensive and complex than Chapter 11. It was designed specifically to protect family farming operations from being lost when the numbers don't align with how the agriculture calendar actually works. If your family ever needs to explore this path again, make sure the attorney you work with knows Chapter 12 specifically. Not every bankruptcy attorney does. Curtis, New Hampshire. I filed Chapter 7 4 years ago. I've rebuilt my credit to a 698. I want to buy a car, but I don't know if bankruptcy will still hurt me when the dealer pulls my credit. Curtis, the bankruptcy is still on the credit reports. Chapter 7 stays for up to 7 to 10 years from the filing date. At 4 years out, it is still visible. But $698, 4 years post-discharge, tells a different story than the bankruptcy alone. Here's what matters now. Auto lenders use FICO auto scores, not the same model you see on your banking app. And FICO auto scores weight auto loan history heavily. If you have had any auto loan since the discharge, how you managed it matters significantly. If you have no auto history since discharge, you are a new borrower to the auto market with a bankruptcy on file. You will likely get approved, but the rate may reflect the risk they perceive. Shop before you commit. Get pre-approved from a credit union or bank first. Walk into the dealership with financing already in hand. The dealership's financing is not always the best available to you. Brixton, Mississippi. Lady T, I keep being told that bankruptcy ruined my life and that I should have never filed no matter what. But I was $40,000 in debt with no way out. Are they right? Brixton, whoever is telling you this, your experience is your experience. And it sounds like it was painful, but your experience is not the rule. Bankruptcy ruins lives when people go into it without understanding what they're filing, without understanding the chapter that fits their situation, without understanding what to do on the other side, and without someone in their corner who has seen this before and knows the path. Bankruptcy used correctly is a legal tool with a specific process, a specific timeline, and a real path to the other side. $40,000 in debt with no realistic path out has its own cost. It costs you in interest every month. It costs you in sleep. It costs you in the decisions you can't make because the debt is holding you in place. The question is not whether bankruptcy is scary. The question is whether the current path is actually leading somewhere better. Visit us at www.beyondcreditlimits.com and let's look at the full picture before any decision is made. Tamiko, Delaware. I filed Chapter 13 2 years ago into the plan, and I missed 3 payments because I lost my job. My case got dismissed. Now I don't know what to do. Can I refile? Tamiko, a dismissed Chapter 13 is honestly one of the hardest situations to recover from inside the bankruptcy system. And I want to be honest with you about what it means. When a Chapter 13 case is dismissed, the discharge does not happen. Every debt that was being managed in the plan is immediately due again. The creditors can resume collection. The automatic stay is lifted. Can you refile? Possibly. But here is the critical piece. If you refile within 1 year of dismissal, the automatic stay may only last 30 days, and creditors can ask the court to lift it even sooner. The protection that filing gives you is significantly reduced after a dismissal. Before you do anything, contact your bankruptcy attorney immediately. And also visit us at www.beyondcreditlimits.com because the credit picture after a dismissed Chapter 13 is complex. And getting it right on the rebuild matters enormously. Submit your question to the Real Credit Talk Show at beyondcreditlimits.com. Your first name, and state or anonymous, I read everyone. We started tonight in a waiting room. 4 people, no contact, everyone with a folder. Everyone wondering the same thing. Is this the end? And by now, you know the answer. It depends on the chapter. Chapter 7 for the person who needs the slate cleared. Chapter 13 for the person who needs to keep the house and has a plan to catch up. Chapter 11 for the person whose debt is too complex or too large for Chapter 13. Chapter 12 for the farmer or fisherman whose income doesn't fit a monthly payment structure. Same building, different paths, different outcomes. And the people who walk out of bankruptcy in the strongest position are not the ones who got lucky. They're the ones who understood which chapter fit their situation, what the process actually required, what the reaffirmation agreement was actually saying, and what they needed to do on day 2 of the rebuild. The woman who bought a house 2 years post-discharge was in that waiting room too. The difference was understanding. If episode 20 taught you anything, I hope it's this. The system that recorded the bankruptcy is the same system that records the recovery. Every on-time payment after discharge. Every account managed correctly. Every month of consistent behavior, writing a story that is bigger than the one event. Bankruptcy closes a chapter. It does not close the book. And the next chapter starts the moment you decide that the reset was the beginning, not the end. If tonight connected to where you are, whether you are considering filing, currently in a Chapter 13, recently discharged, or years out and working toward a major goal, Beyond Credit Limits was built for every stage of this. Our credit report analysis maps exactly what the file looks like post-bankruptcy. Every account that should reflect the discharge. Every account still reporting incorrectly. What's accurate and what's a disputable inaccuracy. Our strategic dispute processing addresses accounts included in the discharge that are still showing as active delinquencies or open balances, one of the most common and most damaging errors in post-bankruptcy credit files. Our financial strategy planning maps the path from discharge to home ownership, from bankruptcy to the next car loan at a real rate, from the dismissed case to what actually comes next, with a real timeline and specific steps. Everything starts with the credit review consultation. 1 hour, your actual file, a real picture of where you are, and a specific map of what comes next. Visit www.beyondcreditlimits.com and fill out the consultation form today. The reset was the beginning. Let's build from here. Before I close, I want to leave you with this. No question is insignificant. Your questions matter because you matter. Knowledge creates options, and options create leverage. For everyone who listened today while carrying the weight of this decision, you now know more than you did an hour ago. Chapter 7, Chapter 11, Chapter 12. Chapter 13. 4 different tools, 4 different situations, 1 decision that deserves to be made with full information. Not fair. Use what you learned today. Visit us at beyondcreditlimits.com. That's www.beyondcreditlimits.com. And fill out the consultation form. Follow me on Instagram at The Real Credit Talk Show, Real Credit Talk Show, and at Beyond Credit Limits. And wherever you're listening from right now, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube, Apple Podcast, TuneIn, Amazon Music, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss when a new episode drops. And send this episode to someone who needs it, because someone in your circle may be sitting with this decision right now and convince themselves they are the only one. They're not. And they deserve to know all 4 chapters, not just the one someone mentioned. Submit your questions to The Real Credit Talk Show at beyondcreditlimits.com. Your first name and state, or anonymous. I read everyone. This has been The Real Credit Talk Show, hosted by me, Tiana Mayers, Lady T of Beyond Credit Limits Corporation. Visit us at www.beyondcreditlimits.com. And if you know the brand, you already know www.thatmerchmood.com. Until next time, keep learning, keep positioning, and keep moving with intention.